Hi there, and welcome to the second video tutorial for Coherent UI. Today we're gonna take a look at the binding and how we can transfer data between C# and JavaScript and vice versa. I've already prepared the resources that I'm going to need for today's tutorial, and these are the Coherent UI 152 standard package, the jQuery library, and the Coherent JS library. I started with an empty project, imported the package. It's already imported, as you can see, and I've also installed it. You can do that by going to the Assets menu, Coherent UI, install Coherent UI. You can also find the Coherent JS file in the Assets folder, Coherent UI, JavaScript zip. So, let's get started. Here's an empty scene with just the main camera. We're going to add a Coherent UI view component, and we're going to change the page to a local resource. To do that, we can use our special CoUI protocol and point it to the folder with the UI resources. By default, this is UI resources. So in that folder, we're going to create a new one, which I'm going to name binding test, and the HTML is going to be binding.html. You can of course change the location of the UI resources folder by going to the Edit menu, Project Settings, Coherent UI, Select UI folder. As I said, it's been already set by the install step, and by default it's the UI resources folder in the root of your project. So I'm just gonna select it again for good measure, and let's go check it out. Binding tutorial, UI resources. In here I'm going to create a binding test folder, and I'm just gonna copy a file and rename it to binding.html, and I'm gonna add some really simple HTML code like so. HTML body div hello Coherent UI, end of the div, close the body, close the HTML. And if everything worked fine, we should see a hello Coherent UI label right here. So let's see that, and there it is, hello Coherent UI. So let's get ready for the binding. First, we're going to call a JavaScript function from C#. To do that, of course, we need a C# script, which I'm going to call binding test again. And before I forget that, I should add it to the main camera. So there it is. And let's edit that script. So, first things first, we need a reference to the Coherent UI view. I'm gonna call that view underscore. And in the start method, we're just gonna do get component Coherent UI view. We're not going to do anything per frame, so we don't need the update method. And to call a JavaScript function from C#, all you need to do is view.view.trigger event, the name of the event, and some arguments. The name of the event can be arbitrary, and I'm going to name it hello from C#. And I'm going to pass a single argument saying message from C#. Okay, now this unfortunately is not going to work, and that's because Coherent UI signals when it's ready to signals the user when Coherent UI is ready for the bindings, and right here in the start method it's not. So to actually do that in a moment that Coherent UI is ready for bindings, we should do view.listener ready for bindings, and we're gonna add a simple lambda function. So right after this moment, Coherent UI signals that bindings can be done. and we're gonna move the trigger event right here. So what we're gonna do right now is that when Coherent UI signals that it's ready for bindings, we're triggering this event and JavaScript is going to receive it. So let's go to the JavaScript site, and first I'm gonna add these JavaScript files here in a folder called JS. So let's get to editing. Right here I'm gonna add script type equals text / JavaScript. The source will be JS jQuery -2.03.min.js, and the script, and another script, again type text JavaScript. The source this time is JS / coherent.js script, and here we're going to add our own script, text JavaScript, one more time, and close the script. So here we're going to use the engine object, which is defined by Coherent.js, and that's the bridge object between Unity and JavaScript, to say engine on hello from C#, which means that whenever the engine object receives a hello from C# event, it is going to execute the function that's applied as a second argument. It can be a named function, but right now I'm just gonna add a simple inline function. Let's just close the parentheses, and here I'm gonna use jQuery to say get the hello diff, which is not a hello diff right now, so I'm gonna add an ID. It's gonna be a hello.text, and the text that we receive from C#, which is an argument in this function, and I forgot it, so I'm just gonna add it here, MSG again. So let's recap. Coherent UI signals that it's ready for bindings. C# triggers the hello from C# event with a single argument saying message from C#. Here, the JavaScript engine object receives the hello from C# event and executes the function that's defined here, which changes the text of the hello diff. So what we can expect is that the text we're seeing is no longer going to be hello Coherent UI, but message from C#. Let's hit play and see what we did. Oh yeah, we have a compilation error that's rather cryptic, but it can be fixed by saying using coherent.ui.binding. This is needed because the trigger event method is actually defined as an extension method in this namespace. So now this should be gone. Okay, it is. And when we hit play, we should see message from C# here. And there we go. So that's pretty much about the C# to JavaScript direction. Let's reply. Right here, we're going to do the reply right here. So JavaScript can call C# methods or Unity methods defined in Unity script or Boo using engine.call, name of the event, and arguments. Pretty simple. So we're going to call this hello from JS, and let's add some more arguments, like this is JavaScript. Now when this is called, nothing's gonna happen because we don't have a handler. To actually register a handler, we need to do view.viewBindCall, the name of the event that we want to register, which is hello from JS, and the actual handler, which I'm going which is going to be a method that I'm going to call hello from JS handler. I'm going to define it right here. It's going to take a string argument as a message, and in here I'm just going to log it like so. JavaScript said message, and that's all. Let's hit, oh, we have another, oh yeah, we have to explicitly specify the type of the delegate here. So in this case it's system action with a string argument, and now these should be gone. So when we hit play, we should still see the message from C# here, and the debugger will lock the JavaScript message. Let's see that. There it is. This is JavaScript. Another way to call that is by using the trigger method in JavaScript. This will emit an event instead of a call. So the difference is that we can register events multiple times, but we cannot register calls multiple times. So if I were to do this, or in another component, the hello from JS will be registered just once, and only this handler will be executed, and every following handler will not. So to register an event, we do a register for event instead of bind call. And if these were register for events, then all of these handlers will be executed. But this is meaningless in this form, so let's just stick with one event. And as you can see, after we change that to trigger and these to register for event, the result will be exactly the same. So let's just add another argument just to be sure. And of course we have to change the signature to int and string arguments. And here we're gonna say num and message. And now we can see our event handler at work. Play message from C#, 42, this is JavaScript. So that's pretty much about transferring data between C# and JavaScript. And there's one last thing I want to show you. It's the automatic binding feature, which allows you to do binding a bit more easily. To use it, you first have to enable the binding attribute in the inspector window for the Coherent UI view component right here. So right now, after we have enabled that, we can go to the C# code, and this here, we can comment it and add coherent.ui.coherent method, and we shall supply that with the event name, which is the same event name that you supply register for event or bind call. So here we can say hello from JS, and it should work. But as you saw, there's an overload with the second argument that says, is this an event or a call? So this is an event, so we say true. Let's see what the default is. The default is false, so that wouldn't work. And we have to specify that explicitly. But now we should see the same thing again. So let's just modify it to see the change. Hit play, and we should see that everything is the same. And there it is, JavaScript 42. This is JavaScript. So that's about the binding. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.